Hello, Steve Feldbauer here for Abbott Furnace Tech Talks. And today I want to talk about flashing. Flashing in brazing is when the filler metal that's meant to go into the joint actually flows away from the joint and across the part. This sometimes doesn't cause a problem, but many times it's considered a defect and may prevent you from shipping. So what's really happening? Well, when you place that filler metal on there, depending on how clean the surface is, that filler metal, when it melts, will want to wet the surface. So there are two competing forces here. There's the capillary in the joint that wants to pull that liquid filler metal in to form the bond. And then there's the wetting of that filler metal across the surface. Now, what controls that? Well, it's actually the cleanliness of the surface. The cleaner the surface is, the easier it is for that filler metal to wet. That means that force starts to compete with the capillary force for that filler metal. So there are 6 things that drive this wetting and flashing phenomena. The first is you could simply have too much filler metal. If you place too much metal on there, filler metal, and you fill the joint, the remaining filler metal will flash across the surface. Another is that maybe it's the placement of the filler metal. You need to locate the filler metal near the joint, next to the joint, because if the filler metal has to flow to the joint, it can just as easily flow away from the joint and across the part. And third, it's the type or the form of the filler metal. If you use a preform, such as a wire or a washer, it tends to be more solid, okay, and it's not viscous, so when it does melt, it flows into the joint, and it's not as easy for it to flow away. Where if you use a paste and you have binder, the viscosity is lower, and therefore it tends to want to flow easier, and so it flashes easier. And then there are 3 processing parameters that you can adjust to help with this problem. The first is how reducing your atmosphere is. You can lower an atmosphere's ability to be reducing by taking some of the hydrogen out of that atmosphere. So by removing some of the hydrogen, your atmosphere is no longer as reducing, so therefore it won't clean the surface as well, and then that can help to prevent flashing. Another thing that you can do is lower the temperature. The higher the temperature is, the more it reduces the viscosity of the filler metal and it wants to flow. It also, by increasing the temperature of your furnace, it makes that atmosphere that much more reactive, and so it'll clean the surface better. So by lowering that temperature in that final brazing zone, you can help oftentimes with the flashing phenomena. And the 6th and final thing is the time. It's your speed. You could speed up, and what that will do is reduce the amount of time that this part sits in that reducing atmosphere, in that high temperature zone. And by reducing the amount of time, you reduce the opportunity to flash. So hopefully by looking at these 6 steps or 6 opportunities to deal with this problem, you can solve it. But if you have any questions, as always, please don't hesitate to call Abbott Furnace Company. We'd be happy to help you. All right, that's it for today. You have an awesome day. Thanks.